Yeah, it does. Shabbat shalom, everyone. We have the pitter-patter of young feet still from Tat Shabbat still going on. So it was a joyful Tat Shabbat, and I'm looking forward to more joyous Shabbat energy being channeled in the room as we continue our services. Let us begin on page 128, 128, with Hine Matov. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. And so, one quick announcement before we start. As we continue starting, I invite you all to just double check that your phones are on silent mode. It makes it easier to have a smooth inline Shabbat experience for the rest of the service. And now I'd like to invite up Jody Klein in honor of her leading our Tat Shabbat service to help us with the candles and the Kiddush. And we're on page 120 for candles, and we'll be on page 123 for the Kiddush. And Jody was actually instrumental in helping the kids light the fake candles, the non-flame candles earlier, so this is a great up for the real one, for the real lights. Yeah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. And now page 123 for the Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu Zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit Ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh Zecher letziat Mitzrayim Ki vanu v'acharta Yotanu kidashta Mikol ha'amim V'shabbat kodshecha Be'ahava uratzon Yinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat Amen. L'chaim. L'chaim. And now we turn to page 142, 142, for Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Nile Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And now, having welcomed the angels in the presence of Shabbat, I invite us to turn to page 146, 146, and to rise in body or spirit as we call into Shabbat worship. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. You may be seated. We turn to page 148, 148. I invite you to join in the English.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzvaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening.
Baruch
atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim.
And now we turn to page 150, 150. Again, please join in the English.
Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
And now I invite you to turn to page 152, 152, and to rise in body or spirit for the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. You may be seated. Page 154, the Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, B'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta ba'am v'shivtecha b'veitecha u'vlechtecha b'derech ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו, ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני, אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני, אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. Return to page 159, 159. Please join with me. Sing the song of people joined in understanding and respect. The song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come. The song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more. The song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. And now we look back to page 158, 158, for our people's song of redemption, the song we sang at the shores of the sea. I know that it's been an exhausting week for many of us, but I want to feel some of that energy of redemption at the shores of the sea. Try and channel our people's energy in this singing. Micha mocha. Micha mocha ba'elim Adonai, Micha mocha nedar b'kodesh, Nora tehilot osef eleh, Nora tehilot osef eleh. Malechutecha ra'u banecha, Bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, Ze Eli anu ve'amru, Ze Eli anu ve'ameru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. V'ne'emar ki fada Adonai et Yaakov, ugalo miyad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. Good stuff. Good energy. And now, channeling back to what I said earlier about it maybe being, having been a tiring week for some of us, I'd like us to turn to page 160, 160, and let's actually all read together the English at the bottom of the page that we say when we say the Hashkivenu, when we sing it. Let's read the English all together before we sing. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life, to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. And now the Hashkivenu line itself from the beginning, asking God to grant that we lie down in peace and raise up to life renewed. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. And now we turn to page 162, 162 for V'shamru. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai, את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. And now we turn to page 164 for the tefillah portion of our service, the Amidah. And in 1 second, I'll invite you to rise in body or spirit. Just need a sip of. And now, yes, invite you to rise in body or spirit, page 164. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'Konei Hakol, v'Zocher Chasei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, V'Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol Atah Rav Lehoshia, Mashiv haruach umarid hagashem, mechalkel chayim bechesed, mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, somech noflim v'rofei cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato, lishenei afar, michamocha ba'al gevurot, Umito melach, melech memid umechayeh, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman atah lahachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh shimcha kadosh, ukdoshim b'chol yom yehalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. You may be seated. We turn to page 175, 175, and I invite you to join in together.
You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the clear, still clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, shodcha b'vadcha b'yirah na'avod.
And now we turn to page 177, 177. Please join together.
God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more we offer thanks.
Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha lecha na'el lehodot. And now, keeping in mind all those things for which we are grateful, we're also very aware that we still need peace in this world. We're still praying for peace. And so we turn to page 178 for Shalom Rav. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lecho hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lecho hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. B'tov be'enecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael b'chol et u'b'chol sha'a b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Baruch atah Adonai Hamvarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. And now, having prayed for peace, we are also praying for healing. We're thinking of those who are in need of healing, whether it is in mind or of body or of spirit. The congregation is thinking for healing of Jim DeArmond, Pearl Levin, Ron Rappaport, Carol Friedman, Carol Wallace, Carol Solomon, June Van, Rabbi Michael Matchison, Sherry Chait, Jerry Chait, Larry Michalov, Antoinette Worrell, Linda Chambliss, Judge Frank Caprio, Stuart Rosenthal, Fran Marcus, Howard Silvers, Paige Hedrick, Vanessa Warner, Jaime Klinger, Jane Stewart, Kathy Weiner, Rob Moreland, Jamie Kinder, John Jagodinsky, Vigo Krasenstein, Ben Beltran, David Adler, Jeff Mayer, Linda Margulis, Sadie Charlotte Schwartz, Dean Fiandaka, Debbie Huffman, Dina Richmond, Sophie Kruski, Arthur Aglico, Rose Aglico, Carolyn Boyles, David Charles, Joyce Ferrigno, Karen Toker, all Israelis still being held hostage, all Israelis injured in war, and all civilians injured in any war. If there's anyone here that has a name that they would like to share with someone, with us, of someone who you're thinking of for healing, I invite you to do so as my eyes meet yours. We hold all of their names together, praying for healing. We turn to page 371 for the Mishaberach. I invite you to rise in body or spirit. Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Limotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema. the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. May those who will not be healed on this earth be blessed with nights free from suffering and days filled with peace. May God grant strength and comfort to those who care for the sick. May God help us to find hope and courage as we face fear and loss. May all who are ill be surrounded by the love of friends, loving companions, family, and community. And let us say, Amen. You may be seated. And now I invite you to take a few moments for the prayers of your own heart, for silent meditation. Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru, amen. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Well, first of all, some thank yous. Thank you to Jody Klein for coming up and lighting the candles and the Kiddush, and thank you, Sharon Ruiz, for co-leading services with me. It is wonderful to have voices up here, aside from my own, to share services with and to share the leading with. So anyone who's ever interested in co-leading, please drop me an email. I would love to work with you and to get you up here and have more people on the Bima. So. Also, before we get to the sermon, I have a few announcements for everybody. My name is Rabbi Dime, and on behalf of Bethel, I'd like to welcome you to our services. It is always good to be in Shabbat, and it's a pleasure to pray with all of you. And so, if you are new to our congregation, please come and speak with me after services. We have an oneg out there, and it's always good to get to know people better. I would love to speak with you more personally and give you a more appropriate personal welcome. Please save the date for November 15th, next weekend, Friday. We're having a community Shabbat dinner preceded by a scavenger hunt. So this promises to be mad fun. It's going to be a student-led Shabbat, lots of good energy. Think of the tots that were here earlier today and multiply it by multiple factors. There's a lot of students and they have a lot of great skills for co-leading. And again, like I said earlier, it's just a pleasure to have them up here helping me to lead services, and you get to see all the great kids. The event is free and open to the whole community, but we'd like to ask you please RSVP so we have a sense of numbers of who's going to be here. Also, save the date for the community trip to Israel in February 2025. We're going to have an information session about this in the next few weeks, and we'll let you know when that information session is going to be so you can learn more about the trip. We have many more events coming up. More detailed information can be found in your pamphlets and in the Tuesday bulletin. And please don't hesitate to ask me if you have any questions. I may not know the answer, but I probably know who does. So, without further ado, I get to wish you Shabbat Shalom again. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. All right. I'd like to share with you a story that I heard about from a small village in Ukraine, what is now Ukraine, about 200 years ago. There was a humble trader, Moshe, who had a cart, and he was coming home from a long, long journey, and he really wanted to get home to his village before dark, because he knew that on the roads, 200 years plus ago, there were bandits and robbers and worse things on the road at night after dark. However, his axle broke. The axle to his cart broke, and it took him hours to repair it. And so he was still on the road after long after the sun had set. And it was full dark on the road. And he was going. Fortunately, they were close enough to home that his horse knew the way. So they were on their way home. And in the distance, he suddenly saw a flickering of firelight. And as they got closer and closer, the fire got bigger and bigger, and he started hearing music, this entrancing, amazingly beautiful melody he'd never heard before. And as he got closer to the fire, he saw that there were Cossacks, these roaming soldiers that occasionally would harass his villagers and himself. And he was frightened, but they were singing and dancing around the fire, and that was the source of the melody that he heard. And the melody captured his heart. I get die. I get diggy 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 die. I get die. I get diggy 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 die. And they continued singing and dancing, and the melody continued pouring into Moshe's soul. And he kept going, and he was grateful that the Cossacks didn't see him, but he was so much more than grateful for this song. It captured his mind and his heart and his soul. And so he got home, but for the whole week, all he could do was sing this song. I get diggy die, I get diggy die, I get diggy 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 die, I get diggy die, I get diggy die, I get diggy 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 die. His wife, Tzippi, kept asking him questions, but all he would do is sing this song and answer. And finally, after a week, she was so worried, she was so concerned, she called the town's elders. And the town's elders came to their home and asked Moshe how he was doing, what was going on, and he only answered them in this song. I get die, I get diggy 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 die. And the town elders were worried. They were really worried. And for the next week, Moshe still only sang. And so the town elders called the local asylum and had them send over a wagon. And the attendants from the asylum came over and took hold of Moshe and started walking him towards the wagon. And Moshe still kept singing, I get diggy die, I get diggy die, I get diggy 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 die. And they were walking closer and closer and closer to the wagon. And suddenly the townspeople who had been seeing Moshe singing for 2 weeks straight were so mournful and so sad and so compassionate to him, to his wife, and to his neighbors, and to his family. They were his neighbors. They joined in. The whole of the town, all over the square, seeing him walking towards this wagon, joined in. I get diggy die, I get diggy die, I get diggy 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 die. And suddenly, Moshe stopped in his tracks. He stopped singing, and he called out in a loud voice. He said, thank you for joining in. Thank you for seeing and hearing me. I am still your neighbor Moshe. I am still me. I am still here. Please let me stay. And the town elders, moved by his words, moved by how moved the whole of the town was by his song, told the attendants to let him go, sent them back the way they had come, and welcomed Moshe back to the village, back to speech, back to his life. All Moshe needed was for people to understand how much this song was now part of his soul, how much this song now meant to him. And having people join him in that song, let him know that the village was with him. And so, all of us here, all of us in Bethel, all of us in the live stream, all of us everywhere, this story is to remind us that sometimes all someone needs is to be seen and heard. And all they need from us is that we listen. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. And now, let us turn to page 678, 678, for Hatikva, where I invite us to rise in body or spirit to face the flag and to sing in solidarity with our cousins, family, and friends across the seas. Kol od balevav pnima nefesh Yehudi homia ulfate mizrach kadima ayin letzion tzofia od lo avda tikvatenu hatikva bat shnot alpayim liotam chofshi be'artzenu eretz Tzion v'Yerushalayim liotam chofshi be'artzenu eretz Tzion v'Yerushalayim. And now we turn to page 586, 586. I invite you to remain standing in body or spirit for the Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula leotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kagayei ha'aratzot, velo samanu kimishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, עמד מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, בדעת היום והשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. You may be seated. Sure. Yeah.
The light of life is a finite flame.
thoughts turn to those who are no longer with us, those whom we have lost. We think of those whom we have lost within the last year: Ellie Reamer, Sidney Morris, Sandra Pafter, Jenny Wolf, Dean Leeser, Senator Stanley J. Arnott, Rodney Elk, Alan Hyman, Mary Louise Boyer, Buzzy Klausner, Gregory Wayne Berger, David Dunn, Barry Schoenfeld, Milton Margulis, David Shaknowski, David Friedman, David Cohen, Mike Hyman, Sherry Spargo, Elise Macaulay Schumann, Carol Mandel, and Helen Gerber. And we're thinking of those whom we lost at this time in years past: Anita Perlman, Jay Arnott, Lillian Fleischman, Deborah Hansard Whitman, Sydney Hodor, Gladys Klausner, Pearl Lady, Julius Meinstein, Simon Crescent, Matthew Romes, Robert Schneider, Marilyn Seifert, Richard Silverman, Warren Lutis, and Rachel Zajac. If there's anyone here that has a name that they would like to share with the community or someone with whom you know about it, what would you say?
Anna Deegan.
We hold all of their names together as a community. I invite you to turn to page 598, 598, and to rise in body or spirit for the Kaddish.
Yikadal, Yikadash Shemei Rabbah, V'alma Divrach Yirutei, V'amlich Malchutei, B'chaye Echon U'v'yom Echon, U'v'chaye Dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala U'v'izman Kariv, V'yemru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Leolam Ulolmei Omaya. Yit Barach V'yishtabach V'yit Po'ar V'yitromam V'naseh V'yit Adar V'yit Halev V'yit Halal Shmei Dekudashah Brichu Le'elam Mikol Birchata V'shirata Tush Bechata V'nechamata Da'amiran Be'alma V'yamru Amen. Yehei Shlomo Rabbah Min Shemaya V'chayim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'yamru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mromav Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'yamru Amen.
May the one who makes peace in the heavens bring comfort to all who are bereaved. Let us say,
Amen.
you may be seated. Let's turn to page 626, 626 for Ein Keloheinu.
Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Micheloheinu, Michadonenu, Michemalkeinu, Michemoshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel Emalkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu.
And now, it is my honor to invite all of you to rise in body or spirit for the priestly benediction on page 603. 603. So we can say the blessing over all of you that the priests said over the Israelites at the ancient temple. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
Kain Yehi Ratzon. May God bless you and keep you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka.
Kain Yehi Ratzon. May God's light shine upon you, and may God be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yatzem lecha shalom. Shalom. Shalom.
Kein Yehi Ratzon. May you feel God's presence within you always, and may you find peace.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. That was great.
Yeah. I'm good.